application. So it came out of partnerships that they have, the Sinclair Labs out of Harvard. They have partnerships with Stanford as well. So the Sinclair Labs is one of the world-leading anti-aging labs. What it does, essentially, it's a nutraceutical, and what it can do from an anti-aging perspective is you take it on a regular basis, and it reduces your molecular age by about 30%. So if, let's say I'm almost 40, if I started taking this drug, my cells would act or have the same biomarkers within them as if I was 28. So although your chronological age doesn't change, your molecular age does change. Increases things like muscle mass, it decreases things like plaques in the brain. And that's all been in animal trials, but this is actually in human trials now, about to start phase 1B trials. But they found as a side effect, it actually can repair DNA damage. Obviously, if we're going off into space, these are kind of the things that we need to prevent that DNA damage. Next slide. I would be remiss to talk about advanced technologies if I don't talk about CRISPR. CRISPR, obviously, is gene editing. This is actually in use now. There's been a handful of cases of we're treating patients with this gene editing technology. And in the future, as we go off to live on Mars, as we go off to live on Venus and into other solar systems, this is the type of technology that we can adjust our own genomes to be able to survive in certain environments, whether here on Earth or beyond. Next slide. One more. Biomechatronics Military already using this, combining exoskeletons with individuals to be able to build or carry more. Next slide. This was a couple of years ago, Jeff Bezos from Amazon got into a robot and at one of his events, and this was him piloting that. Next slide. So these are things that are already in use. Walter Reed Medical Center, which is the largest hospital for amputees based in Virginia, does a lot of these kind of advanced biomechatronics. This one is obviously being used by a Myo device. That's the device on his upper arm. The Myo actually senses muscle stimulation, so you can, and with Python code, you can teach that muscle stimulation to do different things that it normally would do. So in this case, control this robotic arm. Next slide. This is me. So I'm a professor at Singularity University, which is out of NASA Ames. So this is a neurostimulating device, so brain neural interfaces. This one is benign. It's not. There's nothing plugged in. But I am able to control the robot. I was very upset because the lady keeps talking to me. I was trying to make the robot smash into each other, but she kept distracting me, so I couldn't do it. But this is the level of technology we have, and this is just a toy. This is just for kids. But next slide. One more. We can already do this for biomechatronics and for other things. And this is the future. This is the stuff that we're doing right now. This is what we're going to do when we go off to space. These are the kind of technologies that we need, and we're currently doing this. This is the fun stuff that you get to work on when you do amazing collaborations between Poland and the US. That is what we're trying to create. So those are things that we can start working on together. Next slide. Autonomous robotics. This was a paper of mine with some other NASA colleagues that just came out a couple months ago. So creating fully autonomous surgical units. Units that can both diagnose and treat from start to finish with no integration of humans. So this isn't a Da Vinci robot. This is a fully autonomous surgical unit. And we need this in places such as Fukushima, or if there's a horrible tsunami, or another disaster, or let's say in a submarine, or some environment that you don't have everything that you need. And for space, this is super needed. At the beginning, when we're trying to colonize these other planets, we're not going to have every type of physician. You're not going to have an interventional radiologist around. You're not going to have a surgeon around. And if you try to get that subspecialty treatment, it's going to be 30 to 60 minutes, depending on where you are, to transfer things, at least based on current technology. So you need these types of autonomous robotics to help you. Next slide. So this is what came out of NASA iTech. This is a star robot. So this is already happening now. It's in animal trials in partnerships with Cleveland Clinic and Cincinnati Children's. What they've been able to do, the robot's been able to do, at least on pigs, is appendectomies, start to finish, cholecystectomies, start to finish, and small bowel anastomosis, start to finish. Next slide. The guy on the left, I won't even ask you because you haven't known most of the questions I've asked. So that's an AI from Star Trek. Anybody, do you guys know Star Trek? Oh, okay. All right, I should have asked you that one. All right, so this is Star Trek. He's a full AI system. It's one of the, I think it was Voyager, one of the later episodes. So fully autonomous AI physician because they didn't have theirs. The thing in his hand, tricorder. Tricorder is, since you guys know, it can do everything. People are already starting to develop this. DARPA has had tricorder challenges. Private companies are doing tricorder challenges. And they've given out prizes for people that have developed semi-tricorders. Next slide. We're almost done. So this is a representation of Martian soil. So wherever we're going, one of the big things with NASA is that we can't take big payloads, at least with current technology. So we try to think about, all right, well, what's on the planet that you're going to? What is available to you there now that you can actually create there? So we're creating applications to do antiseptics or antibiotics based on Martian soil, doing additive manufacturing with Martian regolith. And this is just for one planet. But we're trying to do this with every other planet, whether it's Europa, Venus, things that we can try to imagine to create, so things that we can dream about. But the main thing that people tend to ask me is, why do you do this? Why are you involved in these types of applications? Why space? And I usually answer two things. From my perspective, I think it's intellectual and emotional. From an intellectual perspective, we see the problem that we have with uncontrolled human activity. We see the problem that we have with resources on this planet. But that's only an issue if we think about that this is the only resource that we have, instead of thinking that we have other options. So from an intellectual perspective, this is something that needs to be done. We need to be living on other planets. We need to be going to the outer solar systems. From an emotional perspective, I just think we have this innate need to discover. I think it's something ingrained in all humans that we've always wanted to discover. We've always wanted to go and reach out beyond and learn something new. It's just the way we are. It's just who we are. And I think it's something that it gives people a way to dream. Regardless, science in and of itself, space in and of itself, it's something that brings people together. Regardless of your background, regardless of socioeconomics, geopolitical, religion, when we land on Mars, everyone will be human. Everyone will say, wow, look what we can do when we do things together. Look at what we do when we're not constantly infighting. So that's one of the things that, one of the main reasons I try to be involved in these type of projects. And I'll leave you can turn the sound up, please? Sound. I'll leave you with this from Carl Sagan to hopefully give you a little inspiration of what we can do together.
For all its material advantages, the sedentary life has left us edgy, unfulfilled. Even after 400 generations in villages and cities, we haven't forgotten. The open road still softly calls, like a nearly forgotten song of childhood. Places with a certain romance. The appeal, I suspect, has been meticulously crafted by natural selection as an essential element in our survival. Long summers, mild winters, rich harvests, plentiful game. None of them lasts forever. Your own life, or your band's, or even your species might be owed to a restless few, drawn by a craving they can hardly articulate or understand, to undiscovered lands and new worlds. Herman Melville in Moby Dick spoke for wanderers in all epochs and meridians. He said, I am tormented with an everlasting itch for things remote. I love to sail forbidden seas. and untold opportunities beckon. Silently, they orbit the sun, waiting.
Last slide. One more.
Dziękujemy bardzo. No, mieliśmy na razie dwie prezentacje, szanowni państwo, a teraz czas na debatę, ponieważ odbyła się sesja plenarna i teraz czas, szanowni państwo, na debatę plenarną o przyszłości branży biotech w centralnej.